Hey, what's up everybody, and welcome to my predictions for TLC this Sunday, WWE's TLC pay-per-view. And ladies and gentlemen, let me first of all say that I did this prediction video earlier tonight, or yesterday, or whatever you want to call it. If you want to call it earlier in the night or yesterday, seeing as though it was about 1:50 in the morning, Wednesday morning, very early Wednesday morning. But anyway, this is my predictions on TLC. Now, like I said, I did this earlier, but I knew WWE was going to change something, and tonight at the SmackDown tapings, which will air this Friday on Sci-Fi, they did change something for the TLC pay-per-view, and I'll get into that in a second. Now, originally, this TLC pay-per-view had 7 matches scheduled. It still might have 7. We might have another match added during the week, maybe not. But we'll get into the new match that's been added, because now there are only 6 matches, so I'll go through those matches. First of all, we start out with a triple threat ladder match. A triple threat ladder match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship. Dolph Ziggler defending against Kofi Kingston and Jack Swagger. Now, these 3 did meet earlier in the year at WrestleMania in the Money in the Bank matchup. They did a great job there, so I expect them to be one of the matches that steals the show, because all 3 men can go. And now, the person I predict to win this, and the way I do this now, as many of you probably know, is I predicted as a fan, I tell you who I'd like to see win, but as a booker, I tell you who I would book to win, or who I think the WWE will book to win. So, as a fan, I predict Kofi Kingston, because I would like to see Kofi Kingston win the title again. But as a booker, and knowing how WWE may book this show, I would book Jack Swagger to walk out as champion. Why? Because this is something that WWE should have done in the first place before Jack Swagger became world champion. Now, yes, they put the ECW championship on him. Okay, that's a starting point. That made him one of WWE's top champions. But all the ECW title was in the WWE's eyes, especially when they did ECW, all it was just a step up from the FCW championship. That's all it was. That's all it was. I mean, you didn't even have the ring announcer announced the champion as world champion. All you had them announce him as was the champion. That was it. So basically, the ECW title during its dying years under the WWE banner was just a step up from the FCW title. So anyway, as a booker and knowing how WWE works, I would book Jack Swagger to win this, and here's why. Here's why. Again, this is what WWE should have done when Jack Swagger went to Raw. Instead of automatically trying to thrust him into the main event spotlight like they were doing, I would have slowly built him up and have him go after the US title. Have him win the US title, then possibly win Money in the Bank, and then drop the title probably the next night on Raw, the US title, or at least drop it before WrestleMania, win Money in the Bank, and then cash in on the world title, because then he would have proved that he is ready. But they didn't do that. But this, I believe, would be the right stepping direction, or the right direction to go with Jack Swagger, booking him to win the Intercontinental title, because if they do that, then that means they finally have faith in the guy to compete at that main event level again, and wrestle, and become World Heavyweight Champion. So, as a fan, prediction-wise, I would like to see Kofi Kingston, but booking-wise, I'd have to go with Jack Swagger, because if I'm WWE and I'm booking the show, I book Jack Swagger to win. I just have that feeling. Now, another match that's been added to the card last night, or on Monday night, actually, on Raw, the Slammy Awards edition of Raw, and I touched on this a bit during my Raw review. The match added is the Divas Tag Team Tables match. That's right, the Divas are going to get the tables match. Hard to believe. Well, the Divas are going to get one of the tables matches. But it's a tag team table match. It'll be Michelle McCool and Layla taking on Beth Phoenix and Natalya. Now, as a fan, I would love to see Beth Phoenix and Natalya win and end the year out on a good note, finally giving Lay Cool a taste of their own medicine. But as a booker, I'd have to go with Lay Cool. As a booker, I'd have to go with Beth Phoenix and Natalya. Yeah, as a booker. But then again, I'd have to go with Lay Cool, because if you want to continue the momentum of Lay Cool, you'd have to go with them. So it's kind of 50-50. But as a booker, if I want to end the year on a positive note for my Divas division and have the fans get interested in the Divas division again on a positive note, I would book Natalya and Beth to win. And here's why. In case you don't know, Lay Cool, storyline-wise and on-screen storyline-wise, may seem like they're inseparable and may seem to be working in sync and as one. But we all know that Michelle McCool, storyline-wise, is out for herself. That storyline-wise, Michelle McCool doesn't give a crap about Layla. So this is what will happen. I've got a feeling. If I was booking a show, this is how I'd book it, and I got a feeling they may go in this direction, maybe not. They've proven us wrong before. They might go in a direction where you have either Natalya or Beth turn heel. We'll find out. Or you might have interference from a diva that was a face and is going to turn heel and cost Beth and Natalya the match. But this, however, is what I would do if I wanted to get the fans, the WWE Universe, reinterested in the Divas division and show them that the Divas division is on the same level as all those other women divisions out there. This is what I do. I book Natalya and Beth to win, not because you want to end the year out on a positive note, because you finally want to start that dissension, that breakup, that disbandment, and soon-to-be feud between Layla and Michelle. That's what you want to do. That's what you want to do, booking-wise. Booking-wise, that's what you want to do, and I have a feeling WWE may do that, maybe not. But I feel WWE will do that, if not at TLC, very soon. Because this is what I see happening. Now, the spoilers for this Friday on SmackDown say that Michelle saves Layla from going through a table, right? That's not going to happen on Sunday. It's not going to happen on Sunday because it's the last pay-per-view of the year. And think of it this way. Do you think Michelle is really going to want to save Layla? No. Here's what I see happening, but again, I could be wrong, but here's what I see happening booking-wise if WWE decides to go in this direction. Natalya or Beth are going to have Michelle set up to go through a table. Now, Michelle will find a way to get herself out of the position of being put through the table, either by wiggling out from between Beth or Natalya's legs, raking the eyes if they're setting up for, I don't know, a glam slam or something, I don't know. And then what I do is I have her walk away from the ring, just walk away, like say, fuck this shit, I ain't going through the rest of this match. And then all of a sudden look up on the screen and see Layla getting ready to be put through a table, and then have Michelle not come to her aid. Make it look like Michelle's coming, but then have Michelle just walk away and say the hell with it. That way, if you book it that way, which I don't know if WWE will, they may not, but if you book it in that way, then you could have the start of a dissension between the two. Because then Layla will start seeing that Michelle is only out for herself. Now Michelle, storyline-wise, may try to patch things up and everything, but I hope they do that. I pray that they do this. I pray that they go in this direction, because this is something fans have been wanting to see, and Lay Cool has run its course. Basically, I'm going to be honest. I like Michelle, I like Layla, but Lay Cool has run its course. They've run their course. It's time for them to move on and go their separate ways, and I believe this would be the best starting point to do it. Have them kind of start the dissension, which would lead into a feud and possibly a matchup, maybe not at WrestleMania, maybe on SmackDown, perhaps at Elimination Chamber, but at least have the starting point begin at TLC. So, as a fan, I'd like to see Natalya and Beth win, and booking wise, I'd also go with Natalya and Beth to at least start that dissension between Michelle and Layla. Now, what else? Well, excuse me for a second, I gotta take care of something. Okay, I'm sorry about that. I had to let the cat back in the garage. But anyway, the next match let's talk about is the second ladder match of the night. It'll be Sheamus versus John Morrison for the #1 contendership to the WWE title. Basically, they're going to have to climb the ladder, the 15-foot ladder, and grab a contract for a shot at the WWE Championship. Now, this match, depending on when it's booked to take place, so depending on basically what time or what place in the card that it takes place in, or what area in the card that it takes place in, this match will tell you who wins the WWE Championship. Now, as a fan, I'd like to see John Morrison win because John Morrison can finally get that push that he deserves. Finally get that push and get that opportunity to wrestle for the WWE Championship. But as a booker, I'd have to go with Sheamus. Why? Well, despite how you feel, Sheamus just won the King of the Ring. Why in the world, as a booker, would you want to kill the momentum of a guy that just won the King of the Ring in favor of giving somebody that obviously does deserve a shot at the WWE Championship that opportunity? Why would you do that? You wouldn't. So as a booker, I would go with the King of the Ring, Sheamus. Why? Because it's all part of a plan. It's all part of a plan, and I'll tell you later on when I get to the WWE Championship match what that plan is. So as a fan, I'd like to see Morrison win, but as a booker, I'd want to keep the momentum of Sheamus going, so I'd book him to win. And I believe this match, along with the Triple Threat ladder match, are going to be the show stealers of the night. So that's prediction-wise Morrison, booking-wise Sheamus. Then we have a chairs match between John Cena and Wade Barrett. This match came about on Monday night after John Cena was rehired by Wade Barrett to compete again, but on one condition, that John faces him in a chairs match at TLC. Prediction-wise, as a fan, I'd like to see John Cena win, and booking-wise, I'd book John Cena to win anyway because I want to end the year on a positive note for the WWE Universe and for John Cena, character-wise, because of all the crap he went through. Have it end on a positive note. But this is why I also see John Cena winning it booking-wise. David Otunga. David Otunga, I believe, is going to cost Wade Barrett this match. This is going to lead to possibly a matchup either on the last Raw of 2010 or the first Raw of 2011 between Otunga and Wade Barrett for leadership of Nexus. So that's why I believe Wade Barrett's going to lose this match. It's going to be probably due to David Otunga, maybe not, but I think we know that might happen, which means it's going to lead possibly down the line, possibly on the last Raw or first Raw of the year, last Raw of this year or the first Raw of next year, to a match between Otunga and Barrett for leadership of Nexus. And I think if that does happen, that would be an awesome thing to do, because that way you kind of have the tables turn and have Wade Barrett have life turned into a living hell if he has to start taking orders from Otunga. So anyway, prediction-wise, as a fan, I predict I would like John Cena to win, and booking-wise, I go with John Cena, mainly because of Otunga probably interfering. Then our next match of the night, the TLC match for the World Heavyweight Championship. Originally, it was going to be Kane and Edge one-on-one, but they have decided to go with a fatal four-way. That's right. Alberto Del Rio and Rey Mysterio have been added to this match. That's right, they have been added to the match. Why? Well, originally, Del Rio and Mysterio were supposed to have a chairs match. That has been thrown out, I guess, in favor of Cena and Barrett's chairs match, and instead, Del Rio and Mysterio have been added to the TLC. Now, this does make things complicated when it comes to the booking and prediction, the fan prediction and the booking. As a fan, I would love to see Edge become 10-time world champion. As a fan, I would like to see Rey Mysterio become a 3-time world champion. End the year on a positive note, give the championship to a babyface, or a trainer babyface, or whatever you want to call him. But booking-wise, I'd have to go with Alberto Del Rio. I mean, originally, booking-wise, I would go with Kane, depending on if The Undertaker comes back at 100%. That way, Kane can lose the title to The Undertaker. That's how I would do it. But then also, booking wise, I'd go with Edge because he's over he's over with the fans. And what better way to keep him over than to make him world champion for the 10th time? But now that we have this new element added in, due to tonight's tapings of SmackDown, or last night's tapings of SmackDown, I think I'm going to have to go with Alberto Del Rio. Why? Because WWE has been bragging about the fact, websites, wrestling dirt sheets and whatever have been bragging about the fact that WWE is very hard on this guy, and they just want to shoot this guy to the moon. They want to make him the next big thing for the company. So booking wise, if you want to end the year and prove that you have faith in this guy, you crown Alberto Del Rio World Heavyweight Champion. So it's kind of a split thing, 50-50. On one hand, fan-wise, I would like to see Edge win, but on the other hand, as a fan, I'd like to see Rey Mysterio win. Booking-wise, same thing, 50-50. I'd like to see Kane win to keep the title so that if Undertaker comes back 100%, he can take the title from Kane. But the other hand, booking-wise, if I'm high on Alberto Del Rio to be my company's next franchise player, I put the title on him. So it's kind of 50-50 both ways. Now, for the tables match, for the WWE Championship between The Miz and Randy Orton. Now, as a fan, prediction-wise, I'd like to see Randy Orton walk out as champion. But booking-wise, I'd also probably have Randy Orton walk out as champion. And let me explain why. Because as a fan, Randy Orton winning and facing John Morrison would be an epic match. Everybody knows that. No matter what you think of Randy Orton or John Morrison. But like I told you, whoever wins this #1 contenders ladder match, that'll tell you who walks out with the WWE Championship. Now, like I say, as a fan, if John Morrison gets booked to win that #1 contendership, then yeah, Miz is going to be booked to retain the championship, no doubt about it. But if Sheamus wins and keeps his momentum, which, despite what you think, whether you agree with it or not, is the smart thing to do. Is the smart thing to do because he's won King of the Ring. Then you know that Randy Orton is going to be booked to become WWE champion. So, prediction-wise, fan-wise, I'd like to see Randy Orton win. Booking-wise, I'd probably book Randy Orton to win because if I booked Sheamus to win, then I'd want to go in that direction. But then again, WWE could throw us a curveball. You see, Randy Orton could win the title at TLC, but then lose it back to The Miz, maybe on the first Raw of 2011, and thus with Randy Orton and Sheamus both having shots at the title, basically Randy Orton with a rematch and Sheamus with his #1 contendership, we could have a triple threat match at Royal Rumble. We could. That could be the one twist. That could be the wild card right there. Right there. Randy wins, and a few weeks later loses it back to The Miz. We have ourselves a triple threat at Royal Rumble. That's the wild card. But if I want to do just a straight up one-on-one match at the Rumble, it's going to be Sheamus and Randy Orton. I just feel it. Despite how you feel about The Miz, whether you like him as champion or not, that's what I believe is going to happen. So, booking-wise, I go with Randy Orton because if I booked Sheamus to win and to keep his momentum going as the King of the Ring, then I go with Randy Orton. Fan-wise, I'd also go with Randy Orton as well. If not to see possibly an epic matchup between him and Morrison at the Royal Rumble. So, those are my booking. So basically, those are my predictions and bookings of how. Basically, those are my predictions as a fan of what I'd like to see happening, and those are basically my ideas and my thoughts on how I would book it and how I think WWE is probably going to book the show this Sunday. So that's all I'm going to say. Tell me what you think. Give me your comments, and I'll talk to you all later. Good night. God bless. Peace.